Going live. All right, we are live at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and I convinced Steve to stay out for just a few seconds, just long enough to say hi to his wingman.
You know, if I don't say anything, I won't show up.
Oh, you know what else? I'm pretty sure they can't hear you now that I think. Or can they hear you?
Well,
Did we
let's
decide
test. Can the chat room hear me?
Okay, refresh. It should be up now. They're sitting waiting with bated breath. All right, we are live at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and I convinced Steve to stay out for giant blurry pod feet mugshot. Man. All right, I can hear that. What are you playing back, dear? They can't hear you. All right, we are live.
Well, let's test.
I'm gonna cut you off. Say hi to your wingman.
Hey, wingman.
Oh, and he says Kirsten says they can hear you, so that's good. All right, but now I'm getting rid of you. Goodbye. Bated breath. Goodbye, Steve.
Bye-bye.
All right, there we go. We are live and ready to go. We have DHS Darcy. We have Darcy in for the first time. How exciting is that? I love it. Let's see. Let me do one quick thing in the show notes. There we go. All right. So let's do a little quick audio check on the recording. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com. All right, let me know if you guys can hear this in playback. Recording. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com. All right. I'm cold? How am I cold, Mike? Playback is good. Storm is here. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Nice to see you again. Everybody, welcome to Darcy. Now, you be nice tonight, Kevin. No biting. All right, we got playback. Looks like we're ready to go. It is time for roll call. We've got Steve and Brett and Kevin and Darcy and Mike and Kirshen and Rose and Storm and Alistair bringing up the rear. I think you picked, he's mean because we got rid of Steve. Oh, well, it's Steve's choice. I barely could get him to agree to come on just to say hi. That's why we get along so well. I like to be in front of the camera, and he likes to be behind the camera. So let me make sure I'm getting it. I can't tell. Is that cutting the top of my head off? Yeah, I'll slouch a little bit. We're good. All right. Recording is good. Audio was fine last week. Good. At least I only remembered I said it sounded dull on the Hangout. Yeah, I really think that was the Steve said that it wouldn't. What is it? When I play back audio separately, it comes out funky. I don't remember why that was. But anyway, I don't hear anything here. I think I'm connected because I see a button to stop live playback. Let me help Darcy here for a second. It says... see if that helps her. If anybody else can help her, maybe Steve, you can give her some tips of what it looks like, because that should be there. Frozen. Oh, that's why they said I look cold. So Steve, can you confirm you heard me that if you can help Darcy get in to be able to listen, that would be great, because on the webpage there should be a play button somewhere there. All right, I am going to, well, I'm worried that nobody's answering, so maybe Steve left the building. Let me find out what it looks like. podfeed.com/live. There should be. That's funny. The frozen image is of Steve. Click here. It says click here to listen with the screen reader. Oh, there we go. Okay, Steve's on it. Good. Steve, it's funny if you have not hit play on the window, it's a picture of you. Yeah. So we got you there. Okay, good. You might want to use Darcy's full Twitter handle so she sees it. That'll bring up a bigger notification for her. So, all right, let's get started. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday. I didn't even hit the note. I'm going to do that again. With this a little higher anyway. Okay, there we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, January 18th, 2015, and this is show number 506. We have a massive show for you today. I'm going to start off with a cool tip I found on how to reduce file size in Preview, and it's not what you think. Then we're going to plow through 4 more interviews from CES. By the way, I'm skipping a few that either I didn't think were that relevant or maybe they aren't that interesting in audio only, but we are posting all of Steve's videos over on podfeet.com. After that, in Chit Chat Across the Pond, Bart and I talk about James Cameron's brilliant plan, note the sarcasm, to try and stop secure communications in Britain, and we get into a heated debate on whether Google did the wrong thing exposing a vulnerability in Windows when Microsoft missed their deadline. We end as friends, as always, but definitely have differing opinions on the matter. In Chit Chat Across the Pond, we get to do the second half of Taming the Terminal, Part 27 of N, all about DNS. Finally, we get to play with the terminal again. I promise you this is going to be a long show, so we better dig in. Oh, but wait, one more thing. I was on the Daily Tech News Show with Tom Merritt again this week, and we talked about whether Google Glass is dead or alive. There's a link in the show notes, of course. All right, now we can dig in. Well, it's that time of the year again, time to make the annual family calendar using iPhoto. Every year I seem to learn something new about the best way to do this. I couldn't have been more pleased when Apple decided to let us use the same database for both Aperture and iPhoto, so I don't have to copy photos from one to the other to make my calendar, because I use Aperture, but only iPhoto has the calendar function. So my process is to keyword photos with calendar_2015 as I scroll through all of my photos from 2014 in Aperture. Then I make a smart album for that keyword. That makes it easy to open up an iPhoto, navigate to the smart album I created on the Aperture side, create my calendar from there. After I spend a few hours arranging them all, I print the whole thing out to PDF and I send it to Steve and my kids to see if they have any objections or would like to add in any different photos. Here's where this year's learning came in. When I printed the calendar to PDF this year, it was over 200 megabytes. Even with Apple's new mail drop service that lets you email giant files that end up as links, it just seemed like a tad overboard for my needs. Well, a few years back, someone tipped me off to a cool option in Apple's Preview app that lets you save your PDFs and other documents to a lower quality. If you open up a document in Preview, simply choose Save As, and under the completely unintuitive pull-down entitled Quartz Filter, you can choose from several options, one of which is Reduce File Size. Hot dog, sounds just like what I needed. Well, I opened my newly reduced file, and instead of being 200 megabytes, it was only 945 kilobytes, less than a single megabyte. This is awesome, right? Nope. I opened it up, and the images looked positively dreadful. The text looked fine, but I couldn't possibly send the PDF out this way. I mean, you couldn't even tell who we were in these photos. I went hunting to try and find a way to change the behavior to create something maybe in between 200 megabytes and 1 megabyte. You know, a little mid-range might be a little bit better. I came across a Mac OS X hints forum on Macworld.com with a post by someone identified as ZPJet, and this person had exactly the answer I was looking for, posted way back in 2012. I followed the link on the name, but Macworld hasn't kept that part of the site up any longer, so I wasn't able to identify the author to give credit. Then I had an idea. Maybe ZPJet had kept their same name when Twitter came out. Sure enough, I found Josef Haber on Twitter at ZPJet. Okay, now that I've given Josef credit, let me tell you about his clever solution. Josef figured out that the Quartz filters are stored in the System Library Filters directory. He opened up the one entitled Reduce File Size, and he found the parameters inside that text file to set the compression quality and the maximum image size. He made 3 new files by copying the original and fiddled with the settings until he found values that would create a good, better, and best option, according to his opinion. He also figured out where in the text file the name was stored for the menu choice within Preview. He modified that name for each file so he could tell them apart. He documented the compression quality numbers and the image size maximum all in the forum post. I'm reproducing that in my blog post that goes along with the podcast over on podfeet.com, just in case Macworld shuts down the discussion forum. For compression quality, he used 0.25 for good, 0.5 for better, and 0.75 for best. On the image size max, what he decided to do was for an A4 size piece of paper, 72 dpi, 144 dpi, and 300 dpi, which turned into 842 pixels, 1684, and 3508. I know that's a lot of names, so that's probably going to be fine. Uh-oh. Steve just said, did I say James Cameron? Or I did say James Cameron. Oh, man. It's David Cameron, isn't it? Okay. That's funny. Okay, how am I going to find that? I would rather pick that up right now. Let's see. I'm going to do some playback here. We have a massive show for you today. I'm going to start off with a cool tip I found on how to reduce file size in Preview, and it's not what you think. Then we're going to plow through 4 more interviews from CES. By the way, I'm skipping a few that either I didn't think were that relevant or maybe they aren't that interesting in audio only, but we are posting all of Steve's videos over on podfeet.com. After that, in Chit Chat Across the Pond, Bart and I talk about James Cameron's... Okay, here we go. So I know I want to do a split there. After that, in Chit Chat Across the Pond, Bart and I talk about James Cameron's brilliant plan. Okay. Let's see if I can record just that. See if I can do this. I got to say it exactly the same, but say David Cameron. That's pretty funny that I said that. Thank you for catching that. Let's see. After that, in Chit Chat Across the Pond, Bart and I talk about James Cameron. Okay. I said after that, right? After that, in Chit Chat Across... Okay, stop hitting play and hit record. Oh, I see what's happening. I'm hitting record, but I haven't muted that track. That's what I gotta do. After that, in Chit Chat... After that, in Chit Chat Across the Pond... Okay, why is this so hard? After that, in Chit Chat Across the Pond, Bart and I talk about David Cameron's brilliant plan. Did I cut that off too short? Brilliant plan. Okay, there we go. Let's see if I can do that. Put that down there. Oh, it's just slightly too long, isn't it? Okay, okay, let me bring this in. Oh, I wish I could see all the both tracks at the same time. Okay, so let me cut that. You can't see what I'm doing, so it's probably not as interesting as one would think. See how that works. All right, here we go. It was over on podfeet.com. After that, in Chit Chat Across the Pond, Bart and I talk about David Cameron's brilliant plan, note the sarcasm, to try and stop... Yes! Thank you very much, everybody. I wonder how many people noticed that. David Cameron, not James Kirshen, and... Oh, Gene's here too. Yes, thank you, everybody. Yay, Gene's here. Okay. Did Darcy get going? It looks like... Yeah, it does seem like a long time ago, Gene. Let's see. Time to find... All right. Kirshen gets credit. Vesa. Oh, save. Let's see. We lost Bob DeGrand. Where'd Bob DeGrand go? Horse is back. Haven't seen Horse in forever. Wow. We were a little worried. It looked like Mike McPeak was going to be the only person. Wait a minute. No, Bob DeGrand didn't pass away, did he? Oh my God, you're kidding. Oh no, what happened? Oh no. That's horrible. Ugh, well, that's going to throw me off my game entirely. Bob was such a good guy. None of this seems to matter right now. Well, thanks for letting us know, Storm. I know that's a lot of names, so... Unknown. Oh, he was a good guy. This really makes me sad. Let's keep going. Well, I know that's a lot of numbers to keep track of, but don't worry, of course, it's all in the show notes. I did, of course, decide that this called out for a clarified tutorial to replicate what he did, so you can see where all of these values go, and especially that name key value. I made the 3 extra files as Joseph suggested, and put copies. Actually, I'm going to change that. I'm not going to say that. I walked through Joseph's instructions and I started creating a clarified tutorial to help you guys out so you could replicate this. And I made the 3 extra files as Joseph suggested and put copies back in the filters folder. I opened up my calendar and sure enough, I now had good, better, and best versions of the quartz filter for reduced file size. Now remember, my original was 200 megabytes. The good one, and again, remember, good, better, and best are basically Joseph's judgment on these, but the good one is 2.5 megabytes, and the images look just a teeny bit fuzzy. The better one is 7.7 megabytes, and the images look fine for this purpose, while the best one looks just a smidge better at 9.8. In the show notes, I put a screenshot of the same 5 images together. So, find tomes. What does tomes mean? I took screenshots of the same image 5 times in the different versions. The default preview size, then good, better, and best according to Joseph's research, and then finally the giant 200 megabyte file version that came out of iPhoto. To be honest, the better or best picture is pretty indistinguishable to my eyes versus the 200 megabyte version, but I think you'll appreciate seeing how bad the original default looks if you use that. I'm sorry, the default resize version. The great thing about Joseph's tip is that you can mess with the parameters yourself and see what works for you. Now, I wrote to Joseph on Twitter and we had a nice chat. He kind of burst my bubble, though, when he pointed out that someone back in the forum had pointed out that you don't have to edit these text files. That was fun and geeky, too. But it turns out you can change the default settings for reduced file size inside the color sync utility. This is another hidden file. This is a tool that lives in your applications folder in utilities. I've never used it for anything before, but it turns out that's a good place to go to fix the reduced file size. It's a better way to do it than editing those files in your system library, because if you change your system library, if you ever upgrade your operating system, you're going to lose these filters. I took a look at the ColorSync app, and sure enough, you can duplicate the original reduced file size filter, rename it, change the default settings to Joseph's recommendations or to anything you like. Before using ColorSync, my user library did not have a filters folder in it at all. That's my user level library. Remember, the system level library did, but my user library did not have a filters folder. After I duplicated one of these, the original filter, using ColorSync, I did have the filters folder in my user library. I appreciated that Joseph figured out some good settings to use as a starting point, and even more that he pointed to me out. Stop stuttering. I appreciated that Yusuf figured out some good settings to use as a starting point, and even more that he pointed me to an easier way to do it than editing the system level filters with a text file. Still think he gets some big chops for figuring out the hard way, I should say. Of course, I did decide to make a completely different Clarify tutorial using the ColorSync utility, but I have to give, of course, many thanks to Joseph for figuring it out and making his recommendations. By the way, you can find Joseph's website at maxspeaks.com. MaxSpeaks is a cool utility that takes text input and pronounces it in different languages and voices. That's pronunciation, it's not translation. I actually had a good use for it. I asked Joseph how to pronounce his own name with his Czechoslovakian accent. I put a link in the show notes to the Clarify tutorial on how to do this whole thing yourself, or you can just look for it under Mac Tutorials in the left sidebar. All right, it's time to kick into our first CES interviews. The first one we did when we got there was with a company called Toby, and they wanted to show me something about video games, but Steve was watching what they were showing off, and he asked a question about accessibility, and it turned out we ended up with a way more interesting interview as a result. Let's see. Oh, Sandy came in. Man, it's packed now. Mike, did you leave the door open? Let's see. Oh, save. Should I save? That's a good idea. Oh, Sandy, finally read The Husband's Secret. Did you? Oh, did you like it, Sandy? Yeah, that was really good. I've got a. She's written some other books. I'm reading another good one. Three Wishes was kind of so-so, but I'm reading her a third book of hers, but I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, she was really good. All right, let's start doing. Let's duplicate that track, I guess, and we'll do CES. I'm going to drop these all in as one. Actually, let's do this way. Toby. All right, so we'll bring in Toby. Switcher Mark said that hearing the interviews made him think of Macworld, and he got all sad again. As a result. All right, first interview of CES. We have been cornered by Stefan Floyd of Toby Technologies, and I don't know why I'm wearing these glasses, but I hope to find out.
They look great. They look great. Thank you so much.
All right, so what is Toby Technologies all about?
So Toby Technology is a global leader in eye tracking, and that's a technology that lets a computer know exactly on the screen where your eyes are looking. So there's a kind of a multitude of different applications we have. I believe the one that we wanted to talk about was the assistive technology application.
Yeah, so you do all kinds of stuff, but one of them is assistive technologies?
Yes, primarily people with communication disabilities. So like ALS or cerebral palsy, where they don't have the ability to speak, but they also don't have the ability to use their hands. They can use their eyes to navigate and type words and phrases on the computer, and it reads it aloud for them so they can communicate.
So how does this work?
So it works, the eye tracker consists of 2 cameras and 2 illuminators, and what the illuminators do is they project infrared light into the eye to illuminate the eye, and from there we're able to calculate where exactly on the screen you're looking, kind of like an XY coordinate, and from there we're able to see exactly where you're looking as well as where your eyes are in space, so you can still have free range of movement and still be able to be tracked, which is obviously...
Are my eyes being tracked right now while I'm wearing this?
I believe it, yes, they are, right now. You can see right here on the screen.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I'm going to move my eyes without moving my head. Is it moving, Steve?
It is.
All right. Let's keep going. Yeah, this was a thing for video games, but turned out to be really cool to use for everybody. Let's see. Toby, let me duplicate that. We'll make this one black box. In a pod we are met because of Podfeed. Yeah. Well, better to have known him. Okay. Oh, wait, I don't want to move that in just yet. Okay, here we go. Stefan.
Thank you.
Injuries to children and adults from contact sports are a big deal. Black spot. Okay, come on, you can't say black box without screwing up.
Thank you.
Injuries to children and adults from contact sports are a big deal. Black Box Biometrics is doing something about it. Let's hear what they had to say at CES. Whoops, that was me. And this is them. Check how that works. Keep saying sample rate. Checking sample rate. Let me check this. Much, Stefan.
Thank you.
Injuries to children and adults from contact sports are a big deal. Black Box Biometrics is doing something about it. Let's hear what they had to say at CES. I'm with Jessica Siekelieber of Black Box Biometrics. What do you have to show us today?
So this is the Lynx Impact Assessment System. It's a piece of wearable technology that measures impacts in sports.
So what she has in her hand looks like a tiny little thumb drive. It's just a little tiny piece of plastic with a thumb drive insert on it there.
Yep, and what this does, it slips into a specially designed headband or skull cap. So 2 pieces of soft goods that athletes are already normally wearing, and it measures in real time impacts that they're sustaining. And all that data is sent to our mobile application. So a parent, a coach, an athletic trainer can get real-time feedback on the athlete on the field.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Yep. And all of the data is also securely sent to the cloud, which means there's access, secure access anytime, anywhere, creating a personal record of that athlete's impact history.
So how do you measure impact? What kind of metrics are you looking at?
So we have proprietary algorithms that are based in our product. We measure linear and rotational acceleration. And all of our proprietary algorithms are based on historical health data. So we've looked at lots and lots of accepted data based on concussion rates and use that to formulate the algorithms.
So rotation 2 would be for neck injuries, that kind of thing?
Yep. During a head injury, the head can swing front and back. It can swing side to side. So it's really, really important to capture linear and rotational acceleration.
So you said real time. How does it do it real time? Is it Wi-Fi enabled, or how's that work?
It's Bluetooth enabled.
Okay. So I'm playing. Kevin, I've had people turn corners and run into me, and they lost the battle. Yep, the momentum thing wins, huh? You know, one of the tricky bits of doing these interviews is that I have to tell people that it's audio also, and trying to remember to describe things that we're saying. But I think I do okay at it. Some of them are purely visual, so I don't know if we're going to do. There's one we did for an app called Curio. It's an Android game that runs on an iPad, and it gets the guys to the kids that are playing it jump around, and the guy was playing a motocross racing game, and he's jumping around, leaning right and left, and rolling his hands around and everything, and so it's a lot better in video. So we'll have to decide whether that one ends up in the audio or not. But all right, I think we should get one of those for Lindsay, Steve. I really do. All right. Darcy, did you get it? You got in, so you're listening? Steve says you can hear now. I'm glad. I'd like advice on what's not working on the website, because I thought that screen reader link would work, but it might just pop you over to YouTube like what you found out. All right.
Thank you very much.
Heart rate monitors are annoying because you have to strap them around your chest whenever you work out. You might have seen the wristwatch sort of things. Those are always paired with a thing that goes around your chest. So that's kind of annoying that you have to wear this big strap and you have to remember to put it on. What if you could have your monitor on all the time and it was so intrusive you didn't even notice? Okay, fit links. Whoops. Let me duplicate that one. Yeah, I'll put it up there, and this will be fit links. I don't know how to do these on separate chats. Probably to increase the probability that I make a mistake later when I slide everything. The link is there a couple levels below the video. Yeah, I usually put it below the video. Hoping people, I do all of the videos on my site, Darcy, are they have the video, the pure YouTube embed link, but the embed link is called like frame 0 or something stupid like that, and so it doesn't give you a play button. But if I can drive you over to YouTube, I want most people to go to the website, but if I drive you over to YouTube, the play button appears to be visible. So that's kind of why I do it below. I talked to Tom Merritt after the show this week, and he had let's see, Steve's saying something here. I talked to Tom Merritt, his wife works for YouTube, and I asked him whether he could ask her, does she know somebody in the web group that I could talk to about why that there's no play button in the embed link. Steve says you have another audio graphic above the readable link, between the video and the embed link. Okay, I'm going to make a note, Steve, to ask you to show me that. Let's see. He says graphical link between vid and whole screen reader link, because I want to make that as easy as possible. Obviously, we're an inclusive podcast here. Okay, I got sticky notes all over my computer here. All right, let's hear how this fits in. Didn't even notice. I'm with Jessica Siekelieber of Black Box Biometrics. What do you have to show us? Nope. What about Black Box again? I want Black Box twice. It's supposed to be fit links. How about right there? It was so intrusive you didn't even notice. I'm with Steven Schwartz in the FitLinks booth, and he's got something really odd to show me here.
This is called the AMP strip. It's a 24/7 heart rate activity tracker.
Okay, now those are a dime a dozen for your wrist and for your elbow and all that kind. Where does this one go?
So this goes onto your torso. It connects with a adhesive strip, which you place on the back of the device, and you can wear it for 3 to 7 days on your body.
So what, for the audio listeners, he's holding something that looks like the size and shape of a Band-Aid, but it's actually got, it's black and yellow and got an oval cut out of the middle of it.
Right. This has got all the electronics in it, and it will include a adhesive strip that you pull off after 7 days of wear. So you can wear it while you're swimming. You can wear it while you're sleeping as well.
Oh, so you can actually get activity tracking when you're swimming.
So activity tracking and heart rate monitoring, primarily geared towards competitive athletes.
Okay, so what does it measure other than heart rate?
So heart rate, skin temperature, and posture. So that's how we get sleep. So with posture, we know that you're lying down, and you can track different levels of sleep cycle based.
Yeah, Steve, this one sounds compressed to me. Let me check the size. So this is 2.5 minutes. It's 48 megabytes. Let me see what another one was. Let's see, sample rate 48, bits per sample 24. Why are you doing it at 48? Why isn't it 44.1? Yeah, this is FitLink, Steve. Why are you doing it at 44.1? That's why it keeps saying, yeah, you're doing it at 24 bits per sample. So the process here is that Steve does the video and then he exports the audio for me, but it's coming out as a stereo 24-bit 48 kilohertz sample rate, and that's kind of a strange thing. We probably should look at that. Should be 44.1 and 16 bits. Your recording is fine. Would you mind coming in and listening to mine? Oh, bye, Gene. Nice of you to stop by. Miss you. Okay. It sounds really compressed at the beginning.
Is this the exact recording?
Yes, this is the AIFF. I'm with Steven Schwartz in the FitLinks booth, and he's got something really odd to show me here.
This is called the AMP strip. It's a 24/7 heart rate activity tracker.
Okay, now those are a dime a dozen for your wrist and for your elbow and all that kind. Where does this one go?
So this goes onto your torso. It connects with.
Oh, okay. Okay, he said he had to build up the volume because we had attenuation on because of some problems we had going on. But we should look at those sample rates and bit rates.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, I'll make another sticky note on that. 44.1 kilohertz. Got to see the belly of the wingman. And 16 bits per sample. Okay. We had some even worse audio problems. I'm going to draw a diagram of how hard Steve's job is. Okay, what am I listening to? I'm listening to FitLinks, right? This guy with FitLinks, so basically what this thing is like a Band-Aid, and you stick it on yourself, and it'll sit there for a week. You can have a heart rate monitor on you, so it's a pretty cool idea. But the problem is, so it looks pretty cool from the front. It looks good, you know, it's not a problem. But he turns it over, and it just looked gross. I think this is one he'd had on for a week or something. It looked nasty. So anyway, it was kind of funny when he flipped it over. We're like, ooh. And I told the guy afterwards, I said, you should not show that part. All right, we're making this a marathon show because we're never going to get done with CES if we don't. Okay. The standard is 44.1. Yeah, not 48. All right. Right here.
So much.
Touchscreens came into vogue with the iPhone, but its popularity has been a surprising boon for a company I'm sure you've already heard of before, but you wouldn't have thought of me interviewing. Remember Synaptics? the Synaptics guy was so excited. He was just on fire about his products because he said that the advent of the iPhone made everybody care about touchscreens and fingerprint scanners and everything. And he was a great interview because he was so excited about his product. So he was a fun interview. Not like you guys, it's not actionable or anything for you to say, oh, you need to go check it out. But it was the guy was really, really happy. So he was a fun interview. Sometimes it's the attitude that really matters. So me interviewing. I'm with Rick Popovitz. Did I say it correctly?
Close enough.
With Synaptics. What are you guys talking about today?
We are talking about a lot of electronic devices that are currently shipping, anywhere from phones to notebooks to tablets that use Synaptics human interface products.
So you guys have been around forever. I remember having Synaptics driver on a PC 100 years ago.
Yeah, back when the touchpads were new and exciting, Synaptics was the company that introduced that product, and now we branched out into the phones, the tablets with the touch screens. So you can see multi-touch technology here. We also did the fingerprint reader on both the Samsung Galaxy Tab S 10.5, the 8.4, and the Galaxy Tab S5 phone.
So how has this technology changed, say, in the last couple of years?
It's actually, consumers have become more aware of user interface and how important it is to have a good user experience. Courtesy of our friends in Cupertino, have done a wonderful job showing what a high-performance device really can be. And that has been great.
Oh, Alistair, that would be fun to hear. The Basics of Audio on lynda.com. Tutors promised to explain why 44.1. That would be really fun. All right, here we go. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right, we got a lot more interviews coming, but we should probably move on with the show. You know, I've always thought that I'd run out of cool stories to tell about how Clarify helps me, but I haven't run out yet. In fact, I'm not even going to use that whole story that I just told about converting the way Preview saves to smaller files and that I created a Clarify document for that. I don't even have to use that one because this week I needed to get one bank to let me transfer funds electronically to another bank. You'd think this would be easy, but when I followed what looked like logical steps on their website, I ended up with a JavaScript error. I whipped open Clarify, took screenshots, annotated them, showing what buttons I was pushing, and I sent it off to the bank representative. She called me back and got another guy on the phone who walked me through a completely unintuitive path to success. I told him I might just go a smidge slower as he was going than he might hope because I was going to take screenshots along the way. Again, I snapped away using just the standard Clarify keystroke as he told me what to do. And the good news is, of course, it actually worked. I can transfer money now between my banks. The better news was that after I got off the phone, I was able to annotate that document with the buttons to push so I could give it to Steve so he could do it too. There's no way you would have figured this out on your own. Now, neither of these documents was a masterpiece filled with elegant step numbers or descriptions, but they were both really useful to help me get on with my life and help Steve follow the same instructions. If you'd like to help yourself, maybe other people, but at least yourself, check out the free trial of Clarify over at clarify-it.com. 48. Yeah, 48. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing 48, and I'm seeing bits per sample 24 when 16 is what GarageBand likes. In fact, if you give me 32, I can't even import it. So we have a big food fight going on in Chit Chat Across the Pond, man. We got into it. It was fun. That's the thing. I love arguing with Bart because we don't like get mad at each other or anything. We just like, you know, if we need to argue, we argue. If we disagree, we do, and then we go, okay, we're good. I think that's how you can tell when somebody's a really good friend, when you can just debate something with them. And debate we did. Let's see, chit chat. We'll put you about right there. And let's bring in, let's see, that's check for symbols there. Okay, get ready for the symbols check. Note, symbols check, check, check. Food fight. Hey, maybe Alistair can check in lynda.com and see if they say in their Final Cut instructions how to change that. That's a pain. That's probably not worth it since it's converting. It sounds okay, right? Let's hear, get ready for the symbols check. Get ready. It.com. Whoa, way too late. Way too late. Don't give me a symbols check just yet. We want that about right. That's where Steve likes it. Okay, try it again, Steve. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Chit Chat Across the Pond, and I'm excited that Bart is back so we can continue on with DNS because I really felt like, we just got to the good part last week.
We did kind of, didn't we? It was a bit of a teaser, but what can you do?
Definitely. Well, let's again. You've actually got us starting on Security Medium today.
I do. So we've only had 1 week since we last recorded it, so I thought to myself, we'll have a nice, quiet security light. Not much is going to happen. And then the universe went, actually, no. Plenty to talk about. So we have 2 topics which I thought were just too big to stick in as a single bullet point, and so I thought we should deal with them separately before we get into the more normal stuff.
We'll go medium, light, and then into DNS.
Exactly.
All right.
So the first is probably the one that's catching everyone's eye. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland decided that the best way to respond to terrorist attacks in Paris was to form a police state. Maybe slightly overstating that, but basically David Cameron said that we should ban all forms of encrypted communication unless his government is allowed to see in. Few flaws with that. Just a few.
That doesn't even sound good on the surface, much less when you peel it back.
So really, fundamentally, a big problem is that you can either have secure encryption or you can have a backdoor. Once people know a backdoor exists, it is going to be kicked in. And what's worse is if the UK get a backdoor, well then the US are going to want one. And if the UK and the US have one, the French are going to want one. And if the UK, the US, and the French have one, you see where this is going, right?
Yeah.
This doesn't work.
As soon as there's a backdoor, doesn't that make it vulnerable to someone finding the backdoor?
Absolutely. I mean, this is ground that's been tread before. It was tread in the United States the last time it was tread, and Congress, I believe it was in the late 90s, thought that they really should make it a legal requirement that there be a backdoor into everything. And Congress were made to see sense on that. And so Congress didn't act. That didn't become law. And also some U.S. history is that there was a time when strong encryption was considered a weapon under U.S. law, and therefore there were export bans on it, which is actually very harmful to U.S. tech companies. Right, and the U.S. saw sense. And so they didn't mandate backdoors, and they removed the export restriction on encryption. And that has done America the world of good. And now David Cameron seems determined to repeat America's mistakes and to go a step further, and actually to do the thing that America realized at the last second was a bad idea.
Is this also completely impractical?
Yes.
I mean, so that would mean if you have we know that the iPhone has encrypted messages, right?
Yes.
So would that mean you can't sell the iPhone in England if that were true?
Well, it would leave Apple with a very difficult choice. Either they put a backdoor into their product for everyone on the planet, or they stop selling their product in the UK.
But that doesn't stop iPhones from being in the UK. That just stops them from selling them in the UK, right?
True.
Which means bad guys could still bring them in.
Sure, but there's even if you're going down that route, there's even a worse practical implication. So we have been, as a species, communicating secretly across insecure channels since people invented invisible ink in the Middle Ages. In fact, Julius Caesar was doing it before Christ was born, using the Caesar cipher. So if you know that the government can read your iMessages, just send code over iMessage. Great, the government can now decrypt the coded message, only all they get back is a second level of coding, which they don't have a backdoor to because you didn't give them one because you're a terrorist. It achieves nothing apart from making everyone less secure.
So it's less secure, it's impractical, it wrecks trade, and it's ineffective.
Yes. Now, to underline this point, there were 2 other pieces of news that came out in the same week, which I think are just wonderfully relevant. So the Guardian newspaper in the United Kingdom has reported on a secret US report which came to the conclusion that encryption is vital to protect private data. So the US have had a look at this and they've decided that it's actually vital that we have proper encryption. Oops. The NSA also admitted that they were wrong when they injected a backdoor into a standard that was adopted by NIST, which is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. And this was very controversial. So the NSA secretly pushed for NIST to adopt a standard which contained the back door.
I think I remember you telling us about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time we said it was a terrible thing for the US government to have done, and now the National Security Agency admit that it was a terrible thing to do because it actually made everyone less secure. So
one other question, just to add to the stupidity of this, doesn't the British government want the ability to send encrypted messages themselves?
Of course they do, but it would be one law for them and one law for everyone.
There you go. There you go.
What
am I thinking?
So, by my thinking...
Okay, that's probably a good place to stop. Steve is just suggesting that I should probably tell the Alpha Geek Radio people who are listening that this is the recording of the live show, but it isn't the entire show. How to explain that? So this is me making the show, but a lot of the stuff is pre-recorded. So that's why I'm cutting off these interviews when they just get interesting and chit-chat across the pond. It's an hour and 11 minutes this week, so it's going to be a while. So anyway, that comes on. You can find this all at podfeet.com, and that's where you can listen to the entire show. So normally the show is like an hour and 10 minutes or so. This is a bumper episode, very, very big. So good job, Steve, for reminding me. And of course it's in iTunes, called the NosillaCast. It's called the NosillaCast Mac Podcast, which is kind of a weird name, but what are you going to do? Yeah, Brett, it is fun. It's fun, but I agree with him. The second part is fun because we get into food fights, so that's always good. Or a seafood fight, as Mike would say. I'm excited so many people showed up. We were a little worried at like 5 minutes till Mike McPeak was just running around the room, throwing chairs and stuff, so that's good. All right, let me record the ending here. Where did we go? Where's my recording? Where's the audio? Where are you?
I think we meet again in 2 weeks, I think.
I think so.
So until then, happy computing.
Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. I promised you a bumper episode, and you got it. What are we at? An hour and 35 minutes so far. More interviews to come. Many thanks to our sponsor for helping to pay the bills. Do go over to clarify-it.com, and when you do, tell them Allison sent you. I haven't had a good dumb question in a long time. Remember dumb questions? These are the questions that you think that everybody else knows the answer to, but you're the only one who has this question. I guarantee you other people have these questions. Now, I'd like these to be dumb so they're easy for me to answer. Maybe a little bit of depth, not just I Google it for you, but something that you're trying to do on your Mac, your iPhone, or something like that you really don't understand. That would be really fun if you send those to me. You can send those and comments and suggestions to me at allison@podfeet.com. Follow me on Twitter @podfeet. Check out the NosillaCast Google Plus community too. Lots of fun over there. And in fact, I posted a question there myself today because I get great help over there. And that's over at podfeet.com/Google Plus. If you want to join in the fun of the live show like Darcy did for the first time, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Well, that's how you know it's not pre-recorded each time, right? There's pills? What did I say? Is it helping to pay the pills? Okay, I might have to re-record that. Did I really say that? You send those to me. Many thanks to our sponsor for helping to pay the bills. Do go over to... Okay, I'm starting over. I'm redoing it now. Fine. All right.
Computing.
Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Many thanks to our sponsor for helping to pay the bills, the makers of Clarify, over at clarify-it.com. When you do buy Clarify, be sure to tell them that Allison sent you. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions. I haven't had any really good dumb questions in a long time. These are questions that you think are so dumb, everybody else must know the answer to, but you're the only one with this question, and that's usually not the case. And I love doing those. We even have a jingle for them. Like to get some more of these. I don't want them so simple that you can, I just Google it for you, because that does happen sometimes. I'll still answer you, but that might not make the show. But a little bit of meat, but not too hard. Don't ask me really, really hard questions. So it's kind of a sweet spot in there. Anyway, you can email those comments and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. You can follow me on Twitter @podfeet. You really should join the NosillaCast Google Plus community. We're coming up on, are are we coming up on 500 people? Is it 400 people? I don't know, a whole trunkload of people in the Google Plus community at podfeet.com/Google Plus. I find it a really valuable resource. When I get stuck, I post questions over there, and I always get answers. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, as Darcy did this week, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. Yeah, everybody else is going to go, what did she say? Bills. Bills. Well, you guys started it. It's not my fault. Save. Why not? All right, I got a lot of tracks going tonight. You know, it's occurring to me, Alistair, for the people who are going to host the show, I'm wondering whether it would be helpful if I showed stuff like this. So when I drop in the, this is the outro music, I look for this peak right here. And I know I want that to be after the end of this, so it should be out a little bit because the ducking will take you right up to here, and then that goes out. And when we go to the other end, I've noticed that usually with you guys, the music doesn't line up quite the way I do it, and it's not a big deal, obviously. But let me bring in the Midnight Dialogue. I set that to start at about 1 second in. Then I do a select all. And then I hold down the shift key and I deselect the blue track there, which is the intro music. And then what I'm looking for is right when I say, and this is show number 508 or 506, and that's supposed to go right with this peak here. I don't know if you can see that. So let me drag this and we'll give a listen. So it's usually about right like there. Let's listen. 106. We have there. That was a little bit early, so I'll slide it out till it's 506 right on the beat there. 15, and this is show number 506. Oh, now I'm early. Actually, I can probably see it right there. That's probably the 6. Yeah, that's probably gonna be right. Here we go. 15, and this is show number 506. We have a massive show for you to see how that works. Do you think it would be helpful if I drew a diagram of that, Alistair, for those of you guys doing the show? Is Alistair here? Still here? Is he awake? Actually, it's tomorrow. Let's see what time it is. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday for Alistair. And Rose, what time is it for you? It's been a fun show. I'm so glad you guys are here. Wake him up. I'm sitting there talking to him. Maybe he left. Clarify step about that would be very useful. Okay. I had to clarify how I align music for hosts. So it's going to get crazy during March. We're going to have Art and Alistair as before, but I am going to hand over the reins. I cannot believe I thought to do this, but I am going to let Guy Searle run the show 1 week. It's just terrifying. And try to do it by ear. Yeah, I thought it might be helpful if you could hear, if you knew what it was I look for, what I do. So because I know you mentioned that was annoying to try to figure out. I know a lot of times people don't want to push something on other people, but a lot of times they're just trying to, you know, the person doing it is just like, just tell me what you want me to do. I'm fine. I don't care. I don't need artistic license on this piece. Oh, yeah, Lord help us, definitely. Horse and Mike. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Oh, if he does sound effects, I've told him that it's the one thing I do not like is his sound effects. All right, I'm getting to export songs to disk here. It is 4:50 or 5:55 my time, so we're about done. Thank you, everyone, for... oh, yeah, Guy said that Gaz would be on, too, so that'll be fun. Gaz is a great guy, man. He is probably the longest stretch of laughing I've ever done in my life was when Don McAllister and me and Steve and Gazmaz drove to, was it not Scotland? Where did we drive? Wales. We drove to Wales from Liverpool with Gaz for him to show us a castle. And I have never laughed as long straight in my life. I mean, my stomach muscles hurt the next day. I was so sore. My cheek muscles hurt that day, but it was absolutely hilarious, fun. He's a warm guy. I think the world of Gaz. He's really, really cool guy. So yeah, definitely love the pieces out of him. So should be fun. Hey, so you guys watching the live show, are you guys starting to make plans to make sure you'll be at Barry Falk's Midwest Mac Barbecue on June 20th, 2015? Everybody's going. I started talking to Dave Hamilton. He said, maybe the Macworld All-Star Band should play the night before. And then, of course, I took that as fact, and I told Paul Kent that they're definitely playing, so he better be there. So, I don't know, it should work out. Come on, Kevin, you can do it. You can do it. But, yeah, it should be really fun. I mean, I'd like to make a whole weekend out of it. It'd be fun to do Friday and Saturday. And we'll probably stay a day on either side, too. Now, Kirshen, you have no excuse. I do not want to hear there's a bike ride. Your thing is, oh, he's got it up already. Oh, good, Steve. Yeah, Alistair might have an excuse, but Kirshen, what is it, like a 2-hour drive for you? I mean, come on. You got to be able to come to that. You have to be able to come to that. Dorothy's going to be in Alaska, and I already explained to her, guess what? There's flights from Alaska to Chicago, so I told her she's going to do it. Where do you live, Sandy? You've put in for the time off. Nice, Kevin. You got step 1 done. It's Father's Day. Yeah, there's a race that weekend. There's always a race. There's a lot of races. It's 6 months away, 5 months away. You can miss one race. Come on. Midwest, 5 hours. Okay. Is it really 5 hours? You're in Iowa. How could it be 5 hours to Chicago? Iowa's not 5 hours across, is it? Excellent, Brett. Thursday to Monday. Perfect. 10-hour drive, but you like driving, right, Kevin? Storm, where do you live? What state are you in? Always a bike ride. Days for you from Boise. Ooh, Henderson, Nevada. Maybe we should rent a bus, Steve. All right, guys, I think I am going to have to call it. It looks like the file has exported. 1.03 gigabyte. This might be the biggest one ever. I'm going to start converting that using Dorothy's script, and I think we're about done. Yeah, you can do that. 5 hours, come on. That'd be cheaper than going to Macworld. Just going to go to Chicago. Illinois is bigger than you think. I'll help paddle. New York. Okay, Dr. Dream will write me a note. Okay. All right, guys, I am going to call it. It is 5:58, so it's time to cut the show off. So thank you, everybody, for coming. This was really fun, and I really appreciate all of you being here. So I am going to, let's see, I'm going to go first in, last out. I'm going to say goodbye to Alpha Geek Radio at alphageekradio.com, and all of the listeners over there, thank you for coming. Check out the full show at podfeet.com. Goodbye, Alpha Geek Radio. All right, next up, I'm going to cut off the app, and this will should cut off the live stream. Darcy, this is where I will say goodbye to you because I think this kills the live stream on the website. So goodbye, Darcy. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate you making it the first time. All right, goodbye. I hope you come back. And last in, first out, last in, last out. We are going to say goodbye to the live show. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you again next week.